The search is vast, and they've got to be fast to catch the worms in the twilight hours. The moon is high, and brief is the night that conceals them from predatory powers. Click, click calls the spines of the Tenrec. Stay together or become a casualty. That's the only way to make it today in life, death, and taxonomy. Welcome back to Life, Death, and Taxonomy. It's 30 minutes of interesting animal info for you.
For me?
No, for you. I'm pointing at the microphone.
The microphone gets it.
The microphone gets it, or rather the people that are hearing it because of the microphone.
The people in the microphone.
Yeah, that's right. The taxonomy titans themselves.
We should let them out sometimes.
The listeners. The borrowers in here? No, this is their job. They're cranking all the gears so that the microphone works.
If they stop working for even a moment, this entire podcast fails.
But you know what won't fail? The fact that I'm Joe.
And okay, that's good. In that case, then I'll forever be Carlos.
And today we're talking about a spiky mammal that looks like a cross between a hedgehog and a shrew, but is actually neither. I accidentally wrote Spiky Mama in my notes.
You should have just gone with that. We're talking about a spiky mama that looks like a hedgehog and a shrew.
But it's neither one, and more on that later, maybe. Well, there it is. It's neither.
There it is. Yes, we're talking about the Tenrec.
Specifically, the Lowland Streaked Tenrec.
Yes, not the cosmic cube in the Avengers, the Tesseract. No, the Tenrec. Otherwise known as the spiny Stridulator. That's a throwaway.
Mm-hmm.
A good one is Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Electric Boogaloo. And the Sonic part is coming later. And the last one is Quilliam Quilberforce. I just couldn't not say that. But now we know what everyone's going to start calling it from now on. Let's talk about how to classify it. Where does it live?
Yeah. I don't envy the taxonomical task you have ahead of you.
I've practiced these, so we're good.
Good. They're long.
Okay, yes. Kingdom. This one's a long one. You may not have heard it before, but it's Anomalia. You know it, you love it, you're in it.
Yeah, all those three things.
Also, you know it, love it, in it. Phylum Chordata. This thing has a teeny little spine.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. The class is Mammalia because you are a mammal man, and this is like the 1 billionth mammal that you've done.
I'm going to just slowly phase into never doing anything but mammals. Throwing in an occasional bird, but if it's not warm-blooded, I'm not down.
Then I shoulder a tremendous burden of doing all of the other animals, even if I don't want to. The order is Afrosorcida. Right?
Sure.
That sounds right. It sounds like a witch doctor. Afrosorcida.
I actually thought it was like a scorned babysitter that comes from Africa. An Afrosorcida.
I'm just going to hiss at that. It literally means looking like an African shrew.
Oh,
what
okay.
That means. And that order includes hedgehogs, moles, and shrews, and tenrecs. The family is Tenrecidae. The genus is, here we go, Hemicentetes.
Pretty good.
That's fun. And the species is Semispinosus.
So what's the binomial name, do you think?
Hemicentetes Semispinosus.
What a name.
Awesome name. Love it.
So tenrecs are an entire family.
Yeah. There's a lot of different species within this whole scenario. But we are specifically talking about the Lowland
Streaked.
I almost said striped, but streaked.
Well, David Attenborough calls them striped tenrecs on the BBC show that I saw tenrecs on.
I definitely think it's a potato-tomato thing.
Potato-tomato? You could call it either one.
Yeah, it's both one and the same. All right, so where do these guys actually live, though? The question answered, Madagascar.
Pretty exclusively. In fact,
Actually, exclusively.
they're on the right side.
They're on specifically eastern Madagascar.
Yeah.
And they live kind of near the ocean. So, where there's a quill, there's a quay.
What's a quay?
It's like a man-made structure near the water for boats and stuff. I'm sorry, I had to shoehorn that in there, but I could not. So if you're wondering, I've never heard of a tenrec before. Has Joe gone and picked another tiny mouse animal? Well, you'd be right about that.
Name 4 other ones.
All right. I can name 3. All right. So you've got the mouse in your head. It's a shrew. If you know what a shrew looks like, then you're on the right path here.
Uh-huh.
It's a mouse with a long schnoz,
Yep.
a long snout. I think they have some sort of like common relation with elephants. Like they stem from elephants in some taxonomical way.
Are you sure?
That's what I saw.
Oh, okay, good.
There is actually a shrew called the elephant shrew.
Oh, well, shrews do.
Yeah, maybe. I might just be making stuff up here. So, it's very cute in some pictures. Other pictures, it looks horrifying.
Well, it's small.
I think the closer up the picture is, the scarier and uglier it looks. But when you're far away, you're like, that's an adorable little boy.
It's like a land sea urchin.
Yeah, like a hedgehog. Its fur is black. Here's the crazy thing. It's got black fur with bright yellow streaks. And some of them have like this bright yellow mane.
Yeah.
That if you've ever seen Zapdos, it looks just like Zapdos.
That's what it is, yeah.
Yeah, the Pokemon. Because I don't think there is an animal that we've covered that looks more like a Pokemon than Tennyson over here. And it looks like it's wearing a bee costume. It's just like, it's so brightly colored. And it has these yellow quills coming out of its back. Quillium is what I would name mine.
Peter.
It's like a hedgehog, but it doesn't have quite as many spikes as a hedgehog. They're like longer quills. They look more painful. And it definitely wields the power of electricity. I'll teach you the electric spine. There, I got my song in.
Not quite, though.
Do you want to see my picture of the tenrec?
Sure. That looks like a Pokemon.
I typed in tenrec and I kept scrolling until I found one that like it turned it into a Pokemon card, and then I drew that.
Electric ground type.
Ground?
Or rock.
That's OP. It's overpowered. Anyway, he's saying nice to shock you. These guys do not conduct the power of electricity, but they look like they can. So, are we picturing like a cat-sized hedgehog shrew thing, or are we picturing like a teeny tiny tardigrade sized?
Well, there are tenrecs that are about rabbit sized, so pretty
Really?
decently sized.
Some of the other tenrecs are ugly.
Yes.
This one is not as much.
You know why? Because it's kind of small, and that's adorable. But to give you a more accurate representation of what this guy can possibly look like, we have a little segment on this show called, well, I'll let you tell me what that's called. Because if you want to submit your own intro to this segment, just go ahead and do it. Just put it right into your phone. Right into your phone's memos. And then email it right on over. So
Just tap that voice memo, tap record, say measure up, tap end, type in measure up coolness as your title.
Yeah.
We'll only accept it if it says that. And then type the email button and then just email it to ldtaxonomy@gmail.com.
Yeah, speak it, sing it, or yell it. Whatever your heart desires. But we can't wait for that, so we'll just do it ourselves. Welcome to the listeners' favorite part of the show. Measure up!
Last time we almost harmonized.
Yeah.
We should definitely plan this out.
All right. So this is going to be just a bad measure up for in terms of hardness, in terms of difficulty. This is going to be a big one.
Hard pass. Can I opt out?
So for the first one, we're just going to ease into it. It's not super, super challenging.
I would like to be a conscientious defector. And
Defector.
Yeah, so I'd like to defect from this activity.
You can't. You're in it now. We've sung. We've heard the intro. We're in this segment now. We're in it till the fast facts.
300 Tenrecs. That's my answer to question number 1.
It's wildly wrong.
Good.
But here's the question.
That's good. I have a reference point.
We're talking about body length, and they are an average of 144 millimeters, or 5.5 inches. How many Tenrecs go into the thickness of the world's thickest book, according to the Guinness Book of World Records? I'll give you a hint. It's not the Guinness Book of World Records.
No, I can't imagine it would be.
Here's a hint.
What is the thickest the book?
I'm about to give you it.
Oh, is that that's the hint?
Yeah. It's all of Agatha Christie's Miss Marple stories, including all of the short stories and the novels, which is 12 novels and 20 short stories in total.
In one bound book?
Yes.
That sounds like a waste of time and paper.
The book contains...
Not that Agatha Christie stuff is a waste. It's just a waste to put them all into one giant book.
The book contains 4,032 pages and weighs... I'm not going to tell you that. I'll tell you that if you have no idea if you're floundering, I'll tell you how much.
The weight is not going to help me.
Sure it won't.
Why?
Because that's how big it is.
But this is a length question.
Thickness question.
Sure, yeah. The length between one cover and the other. All right, so 5.5 inches. That is about...
Oh, yeah, I did write it down.
I'm holding my fingers apart in a 5.5 inch estimation. I'm going to say 3.1.
3.1 Tenrecs?
Mm-hmm.
It's 2.2 Tenrecs.
Oh, wow.
The book is 12.6 inches or 322 millimeters.
I was picturing a comically large book.
This is a fairly large book.
Like one that you couldn't, the whole spine would kind of do this giant U shape if you opened it.
I wonder if it's thicker than it is long.
I don't know.
Why not just make it longer? Anyway.
Make it a bigger book.
Anyway, that brings us to the next part.
That wasn't so bad.
The weight. Now, when I was in high school, I didn't apply myself in the maths and the sciences very much. I struggled with them, but I prided myself on the fact that if I did try, I could usually get a concept down and pass a test. There was one concept I could not understand.
Imaginary numbers?
No. And to ask this question, I had to dust off those old chemistry books and figure it out, because that's how I did the calculations.
I'm glad that you did the calculations so that I can guess.
Here we go. 303 grams is how much these guys weigh, which is about 7 ounces. How many hydrogen atoms go into the weight of a Tenrec?
Well, I know they have some sort of weight measurement on the periodic table of elements, and hydrogen is the lightest, so it has a 1.
They have a molar mass
of 1,
and I could not get mole.
Could
not get mole when I was in high school.
Mole is some 10 to the something, of this. Let's say it's 10 to the 5th or something like that. That's 1 mole of atoms, right?
No,
it's a certain amount. It's it's many millions of atoms.
I'll tell you what it is because if I tell you, it's actually a huge hint. But here's a different hint. There is 1 mole of hydrogen. Actually, no, here it is. There is 1 mole of hydrogen in 1 gram of hydrogen atoms. So a mole is the amount of things that equal a gram of it. So how many atoms of a thing equal a gram of that thing? That's the weight of it, the mass of it. Something like that.
How many atoms are in wrong. 1 gram of it?
Yeah, so
that depends on the density.
It's a 1-to-1 thing here. So you're right. The mole of a hydrogen atom is 1.
Because it's the lightest element. You're asking me how many hydrogen atoms go into
a
Tenrec?
Yeah, the weight of a Tenrec.
Is this gonna require me to say an exponent?
No.
No?
What do you mean an exponent?
Is this gonna be 10 to the 17th, which there's
Well,
Like
all of those
septillion.
numbers have a name.
I know, but I don't know the name of anything past
if you get the correct
octillionth or novtillionth.
If you even get the correct amount of digits, I'll consider this a win.
All right, I'll just go with digits.
Okay. Just tell me the first two numbers and how many digits after that.
The first two numbers
Yeah.
are 37.
Okay.
And then there are 24 zeros after that. That's how many hydrogen atoms go into a Tenrec.
You got the digits right on the money.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, 26 digits.
Did I say 26 or 24?
Well, you said 24 plus the 2 in front. You said,
Oh, yeah. 26 digits?
But it's 12. Okay, so here's the real number 12 septillion, 222 sextillion atoms.
Septillion. I even said septillion.
That's 12 with.
Nice.
That's a 26 digit number starting with 12.
Take that measure up.
You did it.
Yeah, I've graduated. We stop now?
Never. Now they can just get harder. All right. That's it.
I'm very bad with astronomical units, but I'm very good with atomic units.
Yeah, the smaller we get, the better you are.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm more of a granular thinker.
Man, how did you get that?
I don't know. I couldn't have told you that was septillion either.
I had to look up what the weight of this thing was, and it told me in moles, and then I had to figure out how many atoms that would be into the grams. So I was like multiplying a huge number by like 203 grams. So I got an even bigger number. And then I had the number of, and then it was that number where it was like 1 point something little e.
Yeah.
And then it's like, that's how many, and I'm like, ugh.
Like, what number is
So
that?
like, what is that? So then I looked that up. Then I had to look up what that was called. And I found it was called the septillion.
You just do the decimal and then times 10 to the whatever.
Yeah.
But this isn't a math podcast, is it?
Sometimes it is.
No, it shouldn't be. It really shouldn't be. So, are you ready to talk about the Tenrec again?
Sure.
We've
been talking about it this whole time.
Tennyson. All right. Tenny eats almost nothing but earthworms. That's his diet. Earthworms. They will sometimes stomp their paws on the ground. Their cute little people paws on the ground to get those worms a-moving.
Uh-huh.
Which I guess that works. Because that's their thing. They live in shallow burrows with their familias.
Same.
Yeah, it's pretty shallow, being that it's above ground.
Yeah, the foundation is below ground.
Yeah, that's good. They can also do that pseudo hibernation thing that a lot of mammals do. That we think they're hibernating, but they're actually not. The torpor.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they can do that. It's not full hibernation, but it's like, I think it's called practical hibernation or
It's practically hibernation.
Functional hibernation, I think is what it's called. But other than that, that's what I've got on the Tenrec. And so, other than the fact that it looks like it can deliver unto you a nice thunder shock, what's interesting about this little guy?
Nothing. That's it.
Okay, that's good.
Oh wait, there's one more thing. The Tenrec is the only mammal in the world to stridulate.
So it's
we'll see you next time, folks.
So it's got this nice, like, this gait. It's got this swagger when it moves. It stridulates.
No, it sure doesn't. Stridulating is producing sound by rubbing body parts together. So I guess you could say
most animals can do that.
Producing sound by rubbing body parts together for the purpose of communication.
Got it.
So, insects are the most common stridulators. When they stridulate, they rub their legs together, sometimes their wings, body segments, you name it. If an insect's got it, it's going to rub it together to communicate. Rub your wings
eyeballs
together. So rub your wings together for the list of following things that stridulate. Crickets, grasshoppers, ants, beetles, katydids, and tarantulas.
Quentin tarantulas.
Yeah. Some snakes rub their scales together to produce a sizzling sound.
I didn't know that tarantulas could do that.
Sure can. Some of them. A specific one does.
I don't want tarantulas to be able to make sounds.
They hiss. It's terrifying.
Do they?
Oh, yeah.
We need to do tarantulas. Everyone loves it when we do spiders. What are we doing all these cute mammals for?
So tenrecs will rub special spines together to create this clicking, like a clicking sound.
Yeah, it sounds like this.
Sort of. And jury's still out as to whether we can hear that. More on that later. So the quills are located in the middle of their back. They're made of keratin, like your hair or your fingernails, not like chitin, which is popular among bugs and arthropods.
This is the second time you said arthropods.
It's going to be 100% officially that someday.
Eventually, we will meld with the crabs and we will become arthropods. Human feet. That's what that means. Human feet.
Okay. So tenrecs can move these quills on their backs independent, or all of the quills on their backs when threatened. But the special quills can move independently.
Are we going to talk about how creepy these things look?
What things?
The quills that they use to make sounds.
Why are they?
They look like sarlacc pit teeth.
They do kind of look like that, yeah.
Like there's all these regular quills, and then there's just this patch on the middle of their back that looks like it's inward-facing teeth. Like there's another mouth in there, like you're watching The Thing. And then they just kind of come together like a Venus flytrap. It's really creepy. Look at this up on YouTube.
Look at this up on YouTube.
That's
racist.
Racist against what? Mario?
Yes.
I was doing my best
appropriating Mario culture.
No, I was appropriating to just Mario. Mario culture.
So the tips rub together to make clicks or snapping sounds. This can be used for 3 possible reasons. One is to communicate between mother and young. The BBC captured a lost juvenile tenrec rejoining his family when a parent started to stridulate. There's going to be a link in the show notes to see a video of that.
It's like, oh, guys, I got to go. My mom's back fat maw is calling me.
Back Fat Ma sounds like the worst album from, like, I don't know.
That sounds like a Limp Bizkit album.
I guess, yeah.
Back Fat Ma. And it works in both ways, because not only is Ma a mouth, but it's also his maw.
It could also be to alert others to predators or intimidate predators. So tenrecs have a great sense of smell, and when they catch a whiff of a predator, their quills will point up and forward. So they get spooked by a scent, and their quills stand on end, their hackles go up, and sometimes like point forward in the direction of danger.
Spooky, scary sense of smell.
Yeah, exactly. So they then vibrate the quills to make a scary sound to spook the predator.
I didn't hear a scary sound. I just heard the clicks.
Well, scary to a predator, which is like, I didn't expect that little thing to make weird sounds. I'm out. I'm just out. I'm not down.
Anything subverts my expectations, and I am not down with this meal.
They also, as you pointed out, when they're looking for food, when they're approached by predators, they also stamp their little feet, as if to say, "Not today, snakes, or birds, or whatever, or Satan."
Or snakes, whatever. It's Madagascar.
Snakes, right?
I think I don't know. Maybe Madagascar is one of those islands that doesn't have any snakes, like Ireland.
Yeah, who could say?
Actually, no. I think Ireland's the only place that doesn't have snakes besides Antarctica.
Sounds reasonable.
The fossa.
Fossa?
That's what they call it, the fossa in the movie Madagascar.
Oh, yeah, it could be that. So they also possibly click with their tongues to echolocate.
Possibly.
Yeah. There's a really unclear BBC article about them finding tenrecs and then using bat detectors to hear what the really high frequency sounds they're making, and they're making sounds all the time. And I couldn't tell based on the reading of the article if that was just the mouth sounds they're making or if it's the quills.
The back fat maw?
Right. So I think it's the mouth sounds because they don't mention the quills till later. But
we can hear their mouth sounds.
So they found that they're constantly communicating. So this could mean that they're using clicks to get around the dark forest at night and find worms and things. So right next to linens and things. So
It's like not linens and things, worms and things.
No one is quite sure why they communicate with both their mouths and their quills. Typically, mammals that make calls use vocalization exclusively for auditory communication. But the only reason I know that is because this is the only animal that stridulates that's a mammal.
True.
Possibly this is because the clicking is really good for cutting through the din of the forest, according to David Attenborough.
Interesting. I feel like a lot of things would click, but I guess if I didn't read the article, so it hasn't clicked.
Or
with me yet.
specific high-frequency sounds that are produced by the clicking.
Yeah, I'm sure they're like tuned in to that channel.
Yeah. So
they're subscribed to that frequency of sound, just like you out there should subscribe to this show.
So I read that when they might have been, tenrecs might have been the first mammals to reach Madagascar. So when they spend years adapting to the island, they didn't have any. They had very little competition, so they developed kind of weird traits, like stridulating
And like crazy looking bee costume.
Yeah, the sky's the limit when things aren't eating you.
True.
Yeah.
Look at us.
Look at what we've accomplished.
We've got clothes.
and computers and things.
Yeah, clothes are cooler.
They are warmer.
True. Than computers.
Yeah.
Is that all you got?
That's all I got.
Okay, well that was the Tenrec, the Lowland
Strangulated.
Strangulated.
Stridulator.
So for you out there,
Streaked.
There we go. For you out there in podcast land, stomp the ground, grab some grub, and put your quills together for the Tenrec, like we do here at Life, Death, and Taxonomy.
Hey, Taxonomy Titans. Tenrecs may be the only mammals that communicate with stridulation, but humans are the only animals to communicate with social media. Little known fact. But we aren't prickly Tenrecs. We'd love to hear from you. If you want to give us feedback, send us your favorite animal memes, or give us episode ideas, you can find us on Facebook, Gmail, Twitter, and now introducing Instagram. Just search us by the name LD Taxonomy on all of the social medias. And as always, your reviews on iTunes and other podcast apps go a long way in tickling our fancies. Thanks for listening and supporting your local homegrown podcasts. Put your quills together.
This is the best drawing I've ever done for this show.
It is pretty good.